kid, it's magical. I've seen it. It's just amazing. Those kids gravitate to you, and you really help them, and it's fun. If you could just stay around for, there'll be some questions. I'm going to bring Amber on. Thank you, Chris. It's awesome to connect, but there'll be some questions that people want to ask you. So hang out for a few minutes. Amber, how you doing?
I'm
welcome.
Good. Thank you.
So Amber, tell us, what's your title in the Y?
Senior Program Director for the Center for Community Impact. So I support the educational work. So we're in middle schools. And so I get the pleasure of supporting our work in that area.
So they have a name, right? The title of that program, what is it called?
The CLCs, the Community Learning Centers. We call them Community Learning Centers. Yep.
What is that for the audience?
Yeah. So we have full-time staff in those schools, and their job is to really come along and support the school and the kids. In some cases, they are like the liaison between the community and the administrators, right, to help support them and the community partners and the resources that come into the school. We also provide before, during, and after school services and resources. We have most of their job is these after school programs, right? And we partner with agencies all over the area to come in and provide services for our kids. It's a combination of Y staff, partners, volunteers, school staff. We create our programs around 9 components to be sure that we're meeting the needs of all kids and they get a really well-rounded experience. So it's exciting work, right? They're really based in the community. Our program directors have an office in the school, and so they're part of that community.
Yeah, you do an awesome job. So I've watched you in action. I was at Baker with you one day. The families get involved in this too. I was there when you had meals, and you tell us the whole picture there, because it's not just the kids, right?
Yeah, I mean, family engagement is a component, right? And so whatever that means for families, right? If that means us supporting them in advocating for their students and that education piece, or if it's just us coming along and creating opportunities for them to celebrate their students, or just celebrate being a part of that community. And so we do everything from events to meetings. We also serve dinners to all of the students every evening before we send them home. We're able to partner with our Camp Seymour and provide some great meals, so we're sure that our kids don't go home hungry.
So Amber, we've been doing this for 10 years, I think. Are there some results of this that you can share? If we had it, what's the impact on the kids?
Sure. I mean, our goal is always that, we support students in whatever way they need, socially, emotionally, academically, whatever that means, because we want to see them see success in the classroom, in the community, in college, right? We speak life into that. Like, you will be in college if that's where life takes you, and we want to make sure we set you up for success. So we have some outcomes that we measure. Our kids that participate in our activities, they have higher GPAs than students who are not connected on average. We have fewer behavior referrals, or we see reduced behavior referrals from their teachers and schools when they're plugged into our programs. And then we also, we measure some social emotional things, like how are they responding to certain things, and how they see themselves, right? And how they see our program. We lean a lot on the kids to say, how are we doing? And how do we adjust to make sure that we're doing what you need, and we're supporting you and your family.
I do want you to tell this story, just because it was very emotional. You introduced me to that young woman at Mount Tahoma who had been in your sisterhood program. Tell us, what was her name?
Anaya.
Yeah. Tell the story, because that was a powerful story.
Yeah, she's a pretty special kid. So I've actually been doing this work for a long time, and then I transitioned when the Y started doing this work. I got to move in and be part of the Y, and so we launched Sisterhood. And so Anaya was one of the first. I had a small sisterhood leadership group. We identified them as leaders, and we met once a week for 3 years, and just talked about life and sisterhood and how we can be more successful. And she went on to high school at Mount Tahoma, and I got a message from her earlier this year that said, "Miss Amber, you're not going to believe it. I got into school." She got accepted to Eastern Washington University, and pretty special, right? That number one, that she got in. I always knew she could, right? That was like never a question. But the fact that she reached back and said, like, look what I did, you were a part of this, is pretty special.
I think what hit me too is the kids that you've introduced, not all of them have role models of someone in their family going to college. And you are that role model for them, or the program, other mentors, but in this case, you
Sure.
helping them to see a path that they wouldn't see,
Yeah.
which is pretty powerful for me. I got emotional, I just did too, again, just because they really, you've made an impact on these kids, and it's powerful. So thank you
Yeah.
for that. So COVID, what are you seeing with kids right now? What are you seeing? What are the challenges, and how are we responding to that?
Yeah, I would say, in the communities we serve, they're feeling disconnected, right? They're used to having, they're used to being active, and whether it's through athletics or through our clubs and activities, or just having someone to stop by and connect with every day. They're feeling that a little bit. Families are going through things. Everyone's different, but everybody's experiencing this different. Um, they're just feeling disconnected. They're feeling like they need somebody, right? They need that personal connection. They need that extra person to say, I care about you. I believe in you. I know this is hard, but we're going to get through it. How can I support you? So, but they're doing okay. I mean, kids are resilient, right? We worry about them and we worry about them, but they're tougher than we think. But that doesn't mean that it's not time that we start to support them however we can.
So they're not going to have a building, and next thing I hear, Amber's got an idea. So what's cooking?
Well, this started out as like a joke because I couldn't figure out, if we don't have buildings, like that's where we work out of, is these middle schools. And so we have these commitments to the community and grant goals, all these things that we said we would do. And now all of a sudden we don't have a place to do it out of. And so I had been joking around saying, well, I'm going to be like the ice cream truck. I'm going to drive around the Y van playing music until I can just find the kids, and I'll just figure out a way to do it. Well, then Darcy, our leader, sent me a video of Memphis, and it was this Y on the Fly. And so it was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. And so she was like, okay. I didn't think she'd go for it, but here we are, getting ready to launch what we're calling Y on the Fly, because it's a fun name, and I think kids will connect with that. And we are going to actually take our services that we provide through our community learning centers, and we're going to go directly out into the community, in neighborhoods and parks, wherever the kids need us. And we're going to be able to provide some of those services that we normally do, even if it's just that personal connection to say, I see you, I care about you, I'm still here, I'm with you in this. That's what we're going to do.
So what is it? Is it an ice cream truck? What are you taking?
We're really fortunate that we have Camp Seymour, right? That's not able to transport kids right now. So they have some buses that are, there are Y buses. Our girls, I took sisterhood girls on a trip a few years back, and they called it the nice bus because it's not yellow. So we call it the nice bus. We're going to take the nice bus out into the community. We're going to have supplies, and we've taken the seats out, and we're outfitting it with Wi-Fi so that we can support them in their online process. If families need help, getting through the process, getting logged on, we can help with that. Obviously, our most important is keeping people safe. So we've got, portable hand washing stations and PPE for everyone. And so, our priority is staying safe and staying consistent with the phase 2 guidelines, but we got to get out there and we got to make sure. I have to see our kids face to face and make sure they're okay. So
that is, when you shared that, I just, so your whole thing, I just kind of want you to make a pitch here a little bit, because the community learning centers you mentioned are partnerships, and that's the way it's built. Now, how can we do that now? How is that going to work? How do we invite people to be partners to this?
I mean, I think that we're fortunate because we have some existing relationships with kids, partners, school districts, right? So we're leaning on those relationships a little bit to say, look, here's our solution, or a part of a solution that we see how we can fill. And so we're sharing these ideas with them and saying, we're going to be in the community. What do you see as, like, what are we missing? What can you add? And how do we make this sustainable? So we're sure that we can continue, because we know times are hard for everyone, businesses included. So how do we make this sustainable? So we want to create equitable access to Y services, Y programming in the community. but we do need those partnerships, and people have jumped on. I mean, we have some really consistent partners that have been around for a long time that are saying, I'll come jump in and provide some programming there in small groups or the academic support. The response from school districts, they're super interested in how this could be of support. And we're leaning on them to say, how do we support your kids academically? What does that look like? Is it virtual tutoring, or can they stop by and get help? And what does that look like? So yeah, I mean, it's really going to take everyone leaning in, the community, everything. I mean, we want to meet this need for kids, but we can't do it alone. So, we're hopeful that everybody will be able to pitch in and provide that.
I just want to say, Amber, I've been impressed with you with the way you connect with kids, and I've always, you're firm with them too. I've been around you,
Absolutely.
but it's a good way. You care, and they know that. But this idea, this is serious, and you did it on the fly, to be honest. And I'm excited to watch the impact of this, because I have a feeling this is going to be around for a while, not just during COVID.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope this becomes part of the way we work, right? Creating access to all of our kids. The kids in the communities that we serve often don't see themselves as being able to plug into those branches because just location, right? And so I always tell the kids when we come into a school, like, you're so special that we created a Y right in your school. Well, they're still so special that we are now creating a bus that comes right to them because we care about them. They deserve access to our services. And then as we move out of this pandemic, how do we be better at getting them access, right? Summer, we go swim in the pools and things like that, but how do we increase that? How do we build that connection so that they feel like they're part of our larger community?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Congratulations. I'm so excited about this idea. I tell everybody, and I have you tell everybody.
Yes,
so,
you do.
Thanks. So, Michelle, I'm going to have you kind of ask these two some questions now for a few minutes.
All right, that was awesome. Thank you guys so much. We do have a few questions that came in. The first one is for Chris. Question for, around parenting. How can parents best support their teens during this season?
I would say one of the most important things is to listen, right? Listen, make sure that they're seen, make sure that they're valued. I think teens are going through a lot right now, a lot of different transitions, maybe some things that they were hopeful for, things are being canceled or maybe delayed a bit. So I think it's important to make sure that we take the time to listen and reassure them. This is a moment in time. Yes, things are different, but we still have to stay prepared, and we still have to plan, and we still have to stay ready.
That's right. Thank you. For a question for Amber, can you talk a little bit more about the partnerships that are involved in the community learning centers?
Sure. We work with about, I would say, an average of 20. I'm scared to name them because I'll forget someone, and they're so important to us. But obviously the districts are a big partner for us, right? They allow us to come into their space and work with their kids and families. The building administrators are probably our number one partner, right? Because we work right alongside them, and they allow us to share that space and make us a part of their community. But I mean, some of the we partner with Metro Parks. We partner with the Boys and Girls Club. We're on constant meetings. The Foundation for Tacoma Students is a big supporter of ours and brings a lot of partners together. We're working with Hilltop Artists to bring, to expand their glass blowing curriculum and those opportunities to more kids. And so, yeah, there's tons of partners. There's about 20 that we work with really consistently. I don't want to leave anyone out, but yeah, we're always looking for, again, our programs are around 9 components. So we connect with partners that meet each of those, which includes arts, STEM, all of those things.
I love that. It kind of makes me think of that village mentality, right? That it just takes so much to help our kids be successful, and for you to facilitate and work with those partners for the betterment of our kids and families is pretty awesome. Thank you. 2 more questions so far, unless we get any more. Question for Chris, biggest need or concerns for our teens today? What do you think?
Biggest need or concerns? I just think they need to really
Oh, you got a little quiet there, Chris.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Yep, that's good.
Okay, sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
No problem.
I would say probably kind of the biggest need or concern. I say thinking about the need. I think our youth need a caring adult, need a mentor. They need someone that's going to guide them and someone that they can talk to, during this challenging time in their lives. Biggest concern, I would say, is maybe due to the different setbacks and different things that are going on, how that may affect them mentally, emotionally, socially. And if they don't have access, to Wi-Fi or to connect virtually, how that may affect them short-term and long-term academically. And so I just think it's important to identify where those gaps are, and to make sure that we have as many resources available to meet those needs. And so that's kind of what I think about that.
Yeah, that's great. And teens need those things all the time, right, outside of a pandemic, but it sounds like during the pandemic, more intentionality and even more so.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great. Last question, Amber, how do people get connected to Y on the Fly once the wheels are rolling?
Yeah, I think just connecting to the Y and reaching out to say what supports you can offer, or what you're interested in, what your passion is that you can share with the kids or the project, I think is super special. There's a number of ways you can plug in from, sharing your passion with kids, plugging into our virtual programs, scheduling, guest speaker appearances, financially, right? We need it all. So we're hopeful that the community will want to lean in and reach out, and we'll find a spot, and we'll help you connect to the cause.
Awesome. So tons of comments in the chat from people who love both of you and are so grateful to hear from you, and beyond grateful for the programs and important work that you're leading. And just a thanks to our audience. We had some technical trouble with Facebook today, and we switched to YouTube, and I see that many of you joined there. So thank you for being flexible and pivoting. We appreciate it. We're just so glad you're here. I'll turn it to Charlie to close us out today.
Thanks, Michelle and Lynn. Thank you both. You guys do a lot, keep us rolling, and do a lot to coordinate this. So I appreciate that. Amber and Chris, I just want to say you guys do amazing work. And the impact of your work is, I see it when I go and witness it. I just wanted to conclude with this. 2008, we did a strategic planning, went through a planning process, and we interviewed community leaders. And almost every one of them said, we love the Y brick and mortar, but there's so many kids and people that we need to serve that can't get to the facilities. And that changed our Y forever. And Amber and Chris are leading that with Susan Buell and Darcy Chiletti, leading that, Darcy. It's amazing what the Center for Community Impact really does in the community. It's powerful work. The impact is profound. And now through this period, it's a huge piece because the brick and mortar isn't as viable right now, though we're coming soon, Michelle. But the reach to the community is profound work. And so I just want to say thank you to all of those who work in the Center for Community Impact, but for Amber and Chris today for being here and sharing the work. Thank you both. Look forward to Y on the Fly. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Michelle. And thanks for listening today.
Thank you.
Thank you.